Join us on the Unseen Paranormal Podcast as we dive into the history, hauntings, and high strangeness of the world. I am paranormal researcher and investigator Eric Freeman Sims. I will be your guide as we chat each Wednesday with different authors, researchers, investigators, and more to try to better understand the paranormal. Listen to the Unseen Paranormal Podcast anywhere you get your music or podcast. And remember, some of the scariest things are unseen.
Welcome, everyone, to Life Beyond 6 Feet. I'm Damien from RKB Paranormal, joined this week by my co-host Josh, and this is the Season 1 finale. This week we have the Paranormal Roundtable, and basically what this is, I have 4 past guests, and we're just going to have like a debate-style conversation. And I'm out of breath again. God damn it. Anyway, I have Eric Freeman Sims with us. I have Lee from Medics4Paranormal, Regina from PPF Investigations, and Terry from Mid-Tenn Paranormal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Roundtable.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump in with one question. I'll ask a question, Josh will ask a question, and we'll just kind of go back and forth, and y'all just kind of give your opinions on all these different questions we got for you guys. All right, so question number 1. Is there a place in a paranormal field for provocation? Lee, you're the first one on my screen, so you're up.
Provocation. To me, there's a fine line between provocation and trying to elicit what is already there. Provocating what's not already there, to me, could be asking for trouble, because there is dark out there. There's evil out there. But if you kind of go into a location and know that it's kind of docile and, like I said, there's a fine line between, for me, it's a fine line between provocation and eliciting.
Right.
So I'm going to say no.
All right. Regina, you're up.
I don't believe in provocation. I think if the spirits are there and they want to communicate, they will. We're kind of on their terms and their time. I don't think provocation really does any good, because again, we don't know what we're dealing with, whether it's a good spirit, a bad spirit. Why are we going to upset them just to talk to us? If they want to talk to us, they'll talk to us.
Right. Harry, what about you?
Well, I am going to have to agree with Regina a little bit. I'm the same way. I mean, if there's something there and they want to communicate, they're going to communicate. If not, they're not. So that's pretty much it.
All right. Eric, what about you, man?
I find Regina's answer surprising since her idol is Zach Baggins.
Go there, Eric. Then we will have some provocation.
But no, I think there are some times that you can use provocation. I don't think to get a response, kind of like what Lee was saying, use provocation. But I think if the spirits are going to be nasty, then I think provoking, not necessarily provoking in a way to get a bigger response out of them, but becoming a little aggressive if they're aggressive. But right. I wouldn't start off at any location. I think all of us pretty much go to locations being respectful, because most of the time you're not going to have nasty entities anyway. And I don't think there's any place for provocation. I think you see it so much because people are copying what they see on TV, and TV is entertainment, and they want ratings.
Right.
And so that makes good TV. And you see people doing it on YouTube, TikTok, and things like that, because these teams don't know any better, because they don't have any other training or teaching other than copying what they see on TV.
Right. Well, y'all all make very valid points. So that one went over very well. Josh, you got question number 2, buddy.
All right. So what do you think causes a spirit to become stuck? Eric, why don't you go first?
I don't think they are stuck. I think they have a choice. I think most of them have a choice. And if they are so-called stuck, and I say that with air quotes, I think it's because they may not know that they're dead, or they're stuck in. One of the interesting explanations I've heard from mediums is that they don't know they're dead because they're stuck in this loop of doing the same thing that they always did. And so they necessarily might not realize they're dead, or they're stuck in that trauma. And so I don't think they're necessarily stuck to the location, but they might be stuck in their own loop, I guess, if that makes sense.
Right. Regina, what about you?
I don't know. I see a couple different points with this. Stuck could be, to us, we think they're stuck, but it could be a residual haunting where the same thing happens over and over. Or it could be a situation, say a mother lost their child and they're looking for their child, and they're stuck in this loop of continuously looking. So until we're on the other side, we're never really going to know.
Right. Terry, what about your thoughts?
I sometimes think maybe too they have some type of unfinished business, that they didn't do like before they passed away or something, and they're just wherever they're at, where their spirit's at, they're stuck there to try to finish that up.
Right. All right, Lee, what's your thoughts, man?
I kind of agree with Terry on that. It's the unfinished business, and also what Regina was saying. Like the mother looking for her daughter or child. Just unfinished business, and a lot of it I think is maybe love. You got somebody that don't want to pass on because they don't want to leave their family. And another part of me thinks it could be the unknown. And I've actually been on some investigations to where the spirit basically said, or the entity basically said, they're scared to cross over.
Right.
Because they don't know what's waiting.
Yeah. And you got to think also, maybe they don't want to cross over because they were cheating on their wife, and the wife and the mistress are dead. And so they don't want to go face both of them on the other side. I mean,
Right.
something like that.
Yeah,
Or
you
like
never
if
know.
it was, like a serial killer or something like that. Maybe they don't want to go face their victims on the other side. So
Right.
they're not necessarily stuck. They're choosing to stay here.
Or judgment. They don't want to face judgment.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good valid points. So, what are your thoughts on the use of Ouija boards in contacting spirits? Terry, you're up.
Well, I don't really use them a lot. Like last night when we went to the shrine, we pull one out just because the shrine, when you go there, anything is welcome there. He welcomes anything there. He doesn't do like human sacrifices. You don't do like animal sacrifices, but anything there, like if you have something you want to bring to the shrine that you want to get rid of that you think might be disturbing you at home, like a haunted item, he'll take it. So we just thought we would try to do the Ouija board because I've not did it since I was a teenager. So I'll be honest, I don't really believe in the Ouija board.
All right. Lee, what about you?
I don't really believe in the Ouija board unless you put a lot of energy into it. Whatever you put into it's what you're going to get out of it, is what I think. The use of the Ouija board kind of goes into conjuring. It's opening doors. It's opening gateways or portals, if you will. And that just to me is kind of borderline in what we were talking about a while ago, conjuring. I just leave well enough alone. Just don't take a chance on pulling something out that could be dark or bad or evil.
Right.
Just elicit what's there.
Mm-hmm. Regina, your thoughts?
But here's the thing, like everything we use is a device to communicate with spirits, whether it's a spirit box, a Ouija board, a digital recorder, they're all communicating devices. So what is the difference? I personally don't like to use Ouija boards, and I don't use them. The only reason is because I think that I don't like to have a hand on the piece of equipment to be manipulated.
The human element.
I'd rather have the piece of equipment be off of my body, not connected to my energy to communicate. But again, like Lee was saying, they all open doorways. And if you open something, you have to close it. And that's the most important thing on any equipment that you use.
And they don't tell the kids who buy it at Walmart or ask for it for Christmas to close it,
Exactly.
The ones made by Parker
Exactly.
Brothers.
Right.
And that's why I kind of don't believe in it because, I mean, to me, I feel like if it's that bad of an device or object or whatever you want to call it to communicate with spirits, I don't feel like why would they sell that there if it's going to bring out the bad?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just.
But a lot of that is what Hollywood has made it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that someone couldn't have the same result with a spirit box.
Right. Nice. So Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Regina. I think spirit boxes are just a modern form of the Ouija board or a pendulum board. And my biggest deal with the Ouija boards and pendulum boards, I'd be the first one to tell you, I don't know if they work or not, because you have such a human hand in them that you can't tell if somebody is unconsciously moving them. Not saying that people purposely move,
Mm-hmm.
or is that person channeling that entity or whatever? I don't know, because you have the human element in there, like Lee said. So if I saw a planchette move and answer a question on a Ouija board, okay, I might believe in a little more. Or if you have a pendulum board that actually has I've seen them where you can get them with the little tripod that actually holds the pendulum so that a person's not holding it, then I might give a little more validity to it. And I've actually seen pendulums move on their own. Now, I don't know if that was spirit communication or if that was just a breeze or what.
Right.
But definitely interesting devices, and I think there is something to them. I think that's why people have used them for hundreds of years, especially back in the Victorian era when they kind of caught their popularity in seances and things like that. But I think if you use them as serious professional investigators, I don't want to say professional but as serious investigators as we all are, I just think there's too much of a human component to that somebody could, even subconsciously, like I said, make movements that they're not aware of. Right. I think dowsing rods fit in that same category. I think you have to be careful with dowsing rods as well, because you can make micro movements that will make them move that you're not conscious of. So I think anything like that with a human element in it, that you have a hand in it, I think it's hard to prove one way or the other and say this is evidence that something is happening. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ouija boards and things. I find them interesting just because their history and of people claiming to bring things forth. I think also with things like that, it's a lot about intention as well. And so what's your intention? So when you're a teenager and your intention is to get scared, I think that's what's going to happen if you are bringing something in.
Right.
And if your intention when you're older is to contact something better, I think you will. But yeah, I'm on the fence about them, whether they work or not. I don't know. Right. I'll be first. I don't have a clue because it's hard to prove one way or the other.
Absolutely. All right, Josh, you got question number 4, man.
So y'all have all kind of talked around this with the last question. But what do you think about portals, and are they real, not real? What's your thoughts on those things? Regina, why don't we start with you?
I think there are places in the world that are more electronically charged that could produce what we call a portal. There could be people who have opened up doorways that we are calling a portal. I definitely believe that the spirits can come and go in different locations where there is more energy for them to do so.
All right, Lee, what about you, man?
Well, I just really agree with Regina. I mean, okay, when a person dies, I'm going to speak a little bit about, I guess, Christianity and traditional faith. When a person dies, they go from this realm into another. So to me, that is a form of a portal. I know I'm getting a little off topic here and I'm losing my train of thought, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. But yeah, I mean, I do believe that there are portals. I don't know if they're going to be mirrors or just a place where something happened. But I do think that they have, like Regina said, they have their choice and the ability to go from one location to another. So why not have the choice to go to another realm?
Right. Right. Eric, what about you?
I think there are certain places, like Regina was saying. I mean, you have famous right now. You have like Skinwalker Ranch, places like that. You have the Alaskan Triangle. You have the Bermuda Triangle, Bridgewater Triangle in New England. I think there are certain places that it definitely is a possibility because of all the different phenomena of not just spirits, but also with, UFO stuff, what we call UFOs, Bigfoot, skinwalkers, things like that are unexplainable. And with all of these different things happening in one place, I find it, maybe that lends a little credence to a portal where different things can come through. As far as close to us, I would say that I would believe a place like Octagon Hall would have a portal there in the basement where they've claimed. Mm-hmm. And that was where we actually got the most activity when we investigated up there. Actually, one of the investigators, we watched his cell phone jump off the table twice, which is interesting, kind of in that same area where they claim the portal is. But I think, yeah, and also to speak what Lee was saying, if you believe that, there's a light to walk into when you die, then that would be some sort of portal to another plane of existence as well. So why couldn't there be these other areas of energy that things could come in and out of? Now, are they as prevalent as people would make you believe? I don't think so. I think there are certain places where, for whatever reason, the energy is right, and or people have inadvertently, unknowingly opened things, playing around with things they don't understand. But yeah, I think it's kind of like the D word, demons. Mm-hmm. I think possibly there, things out there that exist that we don't understand. It's just not as prevalent as some people make you believe, where they try to say there's a portal at every haunted location in the country.
Right. All right, Terry, what about you?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, all of them has pretty much said about what I was going to say. I mean, anywhere you go, I believe, like they said, a mirror or anything could be something that could open up a portal, just like when we went to the shrine, he has a special table that he uses, and it just looks like a portal. It just opens up. So, and he's had lots of things go on there. But yeah, I mean, I just pretty much think, anywhere you go, if there's something that wants to communicate some way or another, if there's a way, like I said, with the light, they're going to be able to come through there and just, come through and just speak with you.
Right. All right.
Communicate.
All right. Question number 5. If a spirit moves an item, is it still considered spirit activity, or does it become poltergeist activity? Regina, we'll start with you.
I mean, poltergeist activity, in my opinion, is something different than spirit activity. Poltergeist activity can be telekinesis with a teenage person who's going through a hormonal change. So I don't really think that it's poltergeist activity. I think spirits can intentionally move things if they have enough energy to do so.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, Terry, what about you?
I agree with Regina. Yeah. So if they have enough energy or some way to, be able to get that device or something, or, any object like cabinet openings and things like that, I believe that it is. I believe it's just, to me, I feel it's more of a spirit type of thing.
Lee, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree with both of them. I mean, I don't believe in so much in just a poltergeist. It's driven by a spirit. Enough energy can shut a door. It can knock on the walls, a lot of different ways that it can actually say, hey, I'm here. I believe it's more spiritual, entity than I would poltergeist.
Okay. Eric, what about you?
The word poltergeist actually means noisy ghost in German. And so I think that gets blanketed as a term for any spirit that's moving anything. But I think, like Regina was saying, I think it's more of a PK manifestation. When I use the word poltergeist, I'm more thinking of the psychokinesis, the PK manifestations, like around teenage girls, especially, of things moving on their own and it not being a conscious entity. And we can get into the debate whether they can become conscious entities or not. But yeah, I think it's two totally different things. I think a spirit moving thing is just spirit moving things. But I think just as parapsychologists and in the field, most of the time when people are referring to poltergeist, it's more of that psychokinesis, the telekinetic energy moving things. That is not necessarily, it's a person doing it. It's not really a ghost.
Right.
I hate that definition, noisy ghost, because that could be so blanketed. I mean, it could be, people hear footsteps upstairs. That's not going to be called a poltergeist. I mean,
I'm just telling you that's what the word means in German.
Oh, I know. And I'm just saying, I don't like that. I don't like the definition.
Right. All right. Question number 6 is all yours, Josh.
All right. So with technology the way that it is, and these cell phones being able to do a lot of different things, what are your thoughts on apps on the phone? Are they legit or are they just for fun? What's kind of your thoughts on it? And Lee, why don't we start with you?
Well, like you said, it's an app. I can't really put a whole lot of stock into it because the people that are actually creating it, what is their intent? Is it just going to be for entertainment, which, a lot of it is. However, there's been a couple of apps that have really made me walk away scratching my head, such as Necrophonics. I've really got some intelligent answers, and I can't explain that. That's the thing. But most of them, to me, are just bullshit.
Right.
But there are some that really do make me question.
Absolutely. Eric, what about you, dude?
I use Necrophonic as well. One of the things I try to take out of it is I always put my phone on airplane mode. Mm-hmm. And I'm skeptical like Lee is. But I've had lots of intelligent responses out of it. And the whole thing about Necrophonic, that app is supposed to just be phonetic sounds. There's no words actually in the program, but I'm still skeptical about the phone listening to you, whether it's connected to the internet or whatever, and being able to, that app is programmed to spit things out at you. Right. So I'm still skeptical of it, but, I use it as a tool and skeptical the way I am a REM pod. I'm skeptical of REM pods as well, or even K2s. Like, is that evidence of spirits? I don't know. But they're all tools that we use together to create a whole investigation. So I think there is a place for them, especially certain apps, Echovox, Necrophonic, some of those that I think are more legit. But then you have so many out there that like Ghost Finder and Ghost Radar and shit apps like that people believe are true. I've had people pull them out on public investigations that we put on, and I'm like, I have to shut them down because I'm like, look, if you look, that is for entertainment. Like, it is not. You can pull that out anywhere, and it's going to tell you that it's found a ghost somewhere. It's found a spirit when it's a crock. So you got to be careful with them, and I stay healthily skeptical of them, but try to do my best, like I said, by turning the phone on airplane mode and things like that to try. But it's also hard not to put a little credence into something like necrophonic when you get straight answers out of it, like we've had to questions, and not just yes and no questions, but like full answers, names and things like that. I've had it say my name before. I've been cussed out on necrophonic before, and things like that. So, like I said, it's just a tool like the rest of them, and we have to be skeptical of everything that we use because none of it was ever made necessarily to detect a ghost or whatever, or to find spirits. We have to put it all together as a package, I think.
Right. So, Terry, what's your thought on all these apps?
I'm in the same boat as them. I mean, I just feel like, does it listen to us? You know how like you mentioned something, and then next thing you know, you get on Facebook, there it is, something you've mentioned. But yeah, I mean, I've had intelligent response as well from the necrophonics and from Deathwave we use. I do the noise canceling headphones and do the SS method. So, I mean, of course I can't hear what no one's asking, but after I'm done, they're just like, it was on point, but I'm not set on that. That's not something that, I'm set on to use whenever I'm investigating because I am skeptic of it. So.
Right. And Regina, what about you?
I agree with all of them. I'm very skeptical of it. Those apps, especially the free ones. I mean, how much thought can you really put into to them finding a ghost? So I tend not to use them.
Right. All right. Question number 7. Sensory deprivation in any form, is it a safe technique? Eric, your thoughts?
Is it a safe technique?
Yes.
I don't see why not. I don't see where that fits in. So like sensory deprivation, as far as like doing the SS method, things like that, I think it works really well because you're taking your eyes away, you're taking your ears away. And so if you're getting answers to questions that somebody else is asking, especially if you're not in the same room, I like the SS method with that, where you're off in a different room. So there's no way whatsoever. And if you're getting the same answers to questions, then I think that's great. As far as doing like a sensory deprivation tank, I think your mind wanders like you're daydreaming. And I don't know if that would point to any paranormal activity because you still have the human element there as well. And, these people are just in a tank floating around, and people claim to have had out of body experiences and all kind of crazy stuff. But I don't know how much I give credence to sensory deprivation. I think your body and your mind will play tricks on you too if you're just sitting in a room with a blindfold and headphones on where you can't hear anything.
Right.
I think it's going to creep you out. You're already going to be creepy because you're in the dark by yourself, and I think your mind's going to wander and play tricks on you. Your skin's going to crawl so you feel like you're touched, or things like that. I think even like a vent turning on, blowing air, it's going to heighten your senses because you feel this breeze. Or I don't know that if I would use that as a technique too often.
Right. All right. Regina, what about you?
I mean, we've used it a lot and had some really, really good results with it. I think as long as you're in a safe environment where around other people, where, even if you are in another room, they still could get to you if something happened. But we tend to have really good results with it, and I like to use it. So I think it's a safe method.
Right. Terry, what about you?
Same. With both of them on some of it. I mean, we use it too. I mean, we'll get it, especially during our events. A lot of people has never done it. So we'll get them to do it, and just go into the room, put the headphones on. Some of them like to be blindfolded. But like you said, if you're in that area and you've never, like someone that's never done it, how do you know they're not feeling too scared and they're making themselves think they've been touched or, hair pulled or something like that. But I'm with on that.
All right, Lee, your thoughts, man?
I mean, I don't think it's dangerous, and I do agree with everybody. I mean, I think it can actually enhance, what you're focusing on. If you got a person who's blind, they're going to have more exceptional hearing, and I think that right there plays into it as well. But as far as it being a safe method, I mean, if it's the right situation, you're around the right people, absolutely think it is.
Right.
I think also if you can look at a show like Destination Fear, which that's their whole point, is does fear heighten the paranormal, or is it just people scaring themselves? I think that's kind of the question they pose. And yeah, they've caught some supposed paranormal evidence on there, but I think that's a big study in what sensory deprivation can do to somebody and make them extremely jumpy. And just it heightens you just sitting by yourself in the dark where you can't see anything. I think it just heightens all your senses to begin with.
Right.
That's even like when you are about to pull up somewhere and you've seen like an episode of Destination Fear or something, you know what this place is done to them. So you're already thinking, when I get in here, all this is going to happen to me.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Question number 8. Josh, all you.
So, do you believe something can attach itself to you even if you're playing by all the rules?
Lee, let's start with you, buddy.
Yes. I mean, it's a short, simple answer. Yes. I mean, I do. Because a lot of people have different kind of energy. A lot of people have different types of auras. So Regina, she could have like this aura that just is peaceful to a spirit. I don't see why they could not attach themselves to her and follow her home or pretty much haunt her. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, they have the free will, I believe, to move from one location to another. So if they think Regina's pretty, they can. I don't see why not.
Right. All right, Regina, what about you?
I definitely believe in it. I have had some hitchhikers follow me home before from different locations. So yes, I think it is very, very possible. But if you take all the necessary measures that, us as paranormal investigators should take by asking them to stay at their location, cleansing with white sage, you could still pick up a hitchhiker, but it's less likely that they're going to attach to you.
All right. Eric, what about you, dude?
I very much believe that they can come home with you. I actually have a resident spirit who followed me home when I was a teenager before I knew what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
And hey, he's still around. I actually had an interesting experience the other night. I walked in my kitchen and I heard something hit the floor and I looked down, it was a piece of candy corn. And I'm diabetic, so I don't eat candy corn. Candy corn ain't been in my house and I couldn't tell you how long. And I had just swept and mopped the floor that day in my kitchen. So where'd the candy corn come from? So, but yeah, this dude's been around since I was 16, 17, and I'll be turning 40. So he's been around for a long time. He actually used to shake our bed in the middle of the night, and we had to have a come to Jesus meeting with him to let him know you can stick around, but you're going to leave us alone. He's pretty benign. You hear him knocking around every once in a while. My husband actually was in our bedroom and heard a man sigh in our closet, our walk-in closet. He come out like, what the fuck? So yeah, every once in a while he makes his presence known. But I believe the spirit can attach to you, and it doesn't have to be anything evil or negative or bad. Like this spirit's not bad, and he's been around my house a long time.
Right.
Just had to set boundaries with him.
All right. Terry, what about you? What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I believe that something can. I mean, we've had something follow us back to the house before too as a kid. It seems to be like normally when we do stuff, it's always something like a kid or something that's always around. But yeah, I mean, we've had a time, and then my thing is, I don't know where they go after. If they've been here for a little while and then you don't hear from them. So, that's whenever, I'm just like, where did he go? If he followed us and we didn't send him back anywhere, that's my thing. I don't know. I don't understand that, but I'm just, I do believe something can come with you and come on home with you.
Right. All right. Josh, I'm going to go ahead and give you question number 9.
All right. Are there any pieces of equipment you think does not work whatsoever?
Eric, we'll start with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
I'm a skeptical believer, especially when it comes to equipment. I think K2s, I think for the most part, they don't work. People put too much stock in K2. The K2 and EMF meters in general were brought into the paranormal to rule out high EMF fields. They were not brought in to detect spirits. And the reason they were brought into the field to rule out high EMF fields is because if you have high EMF fields, you can have auditory and visual hallucinations. Mm-hmm. And so that's originally why the EMF meter was brought in. It was never intended to be that type of equipment. So yeah, I'm very skeptical about K2 meters, and I have used them and seen in the middle of the Thomas house, for example, a bubble of EMF in the hallway where you could measure it with the K2 with the EMF meter, and it seemed to move on its own and things like that. But was that a spirit? I don't know. It could have just been some kind of static charge in the atmosphere, you know. So I that's one piece of equipment that I'm just like, BS. I think it has a reason, but I think people don't use it for the reason that was intended to be used in the paranormal field.
Right.
I could go on about other equipment, but I'll just stick with the EMF meter.
All right, Lee, what about you, man?
Can't think of any kind of particular equipment that I just purely just am against, you know, unless you want to talk about the cell phone apps again. But as far as I like to touch on what Eric was talking about the K2, yeah, that's the reason that it was actually invented. It was to pick up electromagnetic fields, you know, in people's homes or business. A lot of contractors use them. But I've also been in cemeteries where I had it sitting beside a monument and no power to the cemetery, nothing. And I'm getting intelligent responses. There was 3 names on that headstone. I remember that. And I wasn't getting anything calling on the 2. Then I look up and I saw a 3rd, and I was like, "Oh, are you him?" And the thing started going crazy. So I'm not 100% believer in any of the equipment that we use, but again, if I can walk away scratching my head, wondering what I just saw, then to me, then it's a possibility. It's worth it.
All right. Regina, what about you?
Oh, the thorn in my side of a REM pod, which we spend a lot of money on, and they never go off unless you're using a 2-way radio. I've had mine for years and years, and I think it's only gone off twice. So yeah, not very practical investment with a REM pod. So that is the one that I just don't put a lot of stock into.
All right. Terry, what about you then?
I have to go with K2 because, I mean, just like Eric said, I mean, some people, if you don't put your phone on airplane mode, you can just put your phone beside it. You know, it's going to light it up. So you could manipulate that if you wanted to, if you want to fake some type of evidence or anything. Even a wall plug, you know, if there's anything running through that, you can be right close to that, of course, and it's going to go off.
Mm-hmm.
The REM pod, too, I'm a little skeptical on it, but I have had intelligent response on that with the color changing. That has happened. But we were also using an app, you know, so how do we know that app somehow doesn't connect with that and make that change the color? So I don't know, but yeah,
right.
The K2 is another one.
All right.
I would agree with the REM pod as well. There's only been one time that I ever saw a REM pod that I thought it was actually something paranormal. And it was me and Lee. We were investigating a place in Murfreesboro, and I was looking through, we're sitting in the dark, and I'm looking through the camera filming Lee across the table from me, and there's a REM pod, and we're trying to get a response on the REM pod. And I actually watched what was an orb, and I'm not a big believer in orbs either, but an orb floated across the camera screen. I'm the only one who can see this. As soon as it hit the REM pod went off. Now, I don't know if that was a spirit or not, but it was some sort of energy that hit that REM pod. And so It was something outside of it that affected it, because I sat there and watched this ball of light on the IR camera go across and cause that REM pod to go off. The other piece of equipment that I just think is a crock, and Lee can tell you this too, because I
SLS
all the time, the SLS camera.
I
hate the SLS camera. I hate it. And
Same.
Nobody ever tries to debunk it. Nobody ever says anything about it. I hate it. It was not intended at all for paranormal investigating. You can have so many false positives with that thing. It's a crock of shit. And I wish people would quit using them. I just don't like it at all. And also, it weighs 20 pounds, and I'm not carrying it around all night.
You know, Eric, I had a video like what you were talking about up at Thomas' house. We was in Sarah's room. But one of the first times that I went up there, we stopped at the dollar store and we bought a couple of baby dolls for Sarah. We set it up on the bed and put a REM pod there. And we're sitting there, and I'm looking through my cell phone camera, just my cell phone camera, nothing special. The thing started going off. As soon as it stopped going off, I'm like you. I saw an orb of light. You know, don't know what it was. It came up out of it, came across the room toward me, and went actually toward the mirror in the dresser. And also, Eric, I'm going to ask you if you remember this. The house that we investigated, a house up in Robertson County, had REM pods set up through the house, and it just seemed like that we were chasing them things going off up there, because they were going off. Do you remember that one?
Where at?
It was in White House.
Yeah, the problem I have with that house, there was a private investigation that we did, and we finally figured out that the Wi-Fi router was giving off like 1,500 milligauss on the EMF meter.
Oof.
That's enough to make anybody hallucinate.
Yeah. But
Right.
we did disengage that too.
We did unplug it, and the funny thing is, after we unplugged it, we didn't have much go on after that.
No, we kind of still
there
had the
was-
REM
there
pod
was-
going off. We were chasing it because we'd hear it in the next room.
There was some stuff, but it seemed like the activity kind of died down. But I will put this out there. I will send anybody $1 if they can. Any investigator who actually investigates can tell me what SLS stands for. If you use an SLS camera, Lee has, because I fucking correct him every time he gets it wrong. But if any investigator who uses that piece of equipment, you at least know what the hell the thing is, what SLS stands for. Any of y'all tell me what SLS, other than Lee, what SLS stands for?
Isn't it a Century light system?
No.
Okay.
Structured light
Light-
sensor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, all right. Question number 10. Not really paranormal. It's just more of a, spiritual side of it. But when we die, are we given a choice of where our spirit goes? Regina, we'll start with you.
I don't know if we're given a choice. I think it has a lot of factors. I think it depends on what kind of person we were in life. And I think that we all face some kind of judgment for the right and wrong things that we have done. So I don't know if we get a choice.
Okay. Terry, what about you?
I agree with Regina there because, you don't know really, you might have to wait for that judgment day to be able to be judged to where, he's going to put you. But I mean, we really don't know. No one knows. That's what we're all just trying to figure out, in the paranormal field anyways. So I really don't know.
Right. All right. Lee, what's your thoughts?
Same as I don't think that we do have a choice, if you're just talking about, traditional, spiritual teachings, when you die, you're going to go to heaven or hell. Depends on what kind of person you are. You're going to face judgment. And I think, if that's the way that it goes, which, like I said, that's what most of us are taught. I think that it's going to be written for us and we don't have the choice.
All right. Eric, what about you, dude?
I will be the first one to tell you I don't know about a lot of things. And that's like Regina and Terry were saying, that's what we're trying to figure out. I think a lot of people like Lee, and this is no dig on Lee, but I think a lot of people will answer that question through the lens of whatever their religious beliefs are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I don't know.
I thought that's what we were asking. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. You can answer that question however you want. I'm just saying, I think if you asked a Jewish person that, as opposed to a Christian, I think you get a different answer. I think if you ask an Islamic person that, you get a different answer. Mm-hmm. Multiple different answers. I think you get a lot of people to tell you they don't know whether they're religious or not. But I think the paranormal in general comes down to what you were taught religious wise growing up and what you believe as an adult religious wise. I think it factors a lot into what we do and how people view the paranormal in general.
All right. These have all been really, really good answers. Josh, you have any other questions you thought up?
I don't. Seems like with the questions we asked, we answered a whole bunch of different stuff just with those few questions that we ask, and I think it'll give the people that are listening in some good things to listen to, and maybe even respond with their own answers.
And see, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this, because in this field, as you guys have kind of noticed, that everybody's opinion differs on certain things. Some opinions may be exactly the same, and Eric may go on the left field where Lee's completely on the right field on something. That's why I wanted to do this, to kind of get people's different perspectives on all these different topics. So what I'm going to do here, this one's just for fun. It's not up for debate. I just wanted to ask you guys this. You die and you become a ghost. Who are you haunting and why? Terry, we'll start with you.
Oh, well. Who would I be haunting? Probably just my family mostly, and probably my closer friends. I always tell them that too. Like, we'll joke around. I'll be like, "You're going to be the one asking me to light that cat ball up. I'm going to light that ball up for you. I'm going to let you know if I get enough energy in me. I'm going to do whatever you ask me to do." But yeah, I believe it. Probably my husband.
All right. Lee, what about you?
Oh gosh, there's so many people depending on what my purpose is. Look out, Regina. No, I'm kidding. No, probably family. I would feel obligated to look out for family and loved ones that I care about.
Right. All right, Regina, what about you?
Well, anyone who knows me knows I'm going straight to Zach Bagan's house, waiting for
God.
the shower scene to happen.
Oh man, Eric, what about you?
There's a few people on my list I'd probably go smack. If I had that ability, they would have scratches. I'd push them down the stairs or something because they deserve it. But probably like they said, I would come haunt some of y'all, so maybe I could give y'all some good evidence to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Can I change my
fellow
answer?
Investigators.
Can I change my answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Zach Bagan's house and show him what a real ghost can do.
I'm going to beat you there.
Oh goodness. All right, guys. Well, I really enjoyed this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to each one of you and kind of let you guys kind of talk about what you got coming up for 2023. So Eric, you're on my screen right now. So what do you got coming up for 2023?
So season 3 of the Unseen Paranormal podcast will continue. I will be on the cover of the Tennessee edition of American Paranormal Magazine on December 15th through January 15th. I'm on the cover and I'll be 4-page article in there. We have a bunch of public investigations with me, Lee, and Regina are doing coming up the beginning of the new year. At Thomas House, we have 2 nights there. Saturday just sold out yesterday on the 21st, but we still have rooms for Friday, the 20th of January.
They're going fast.
They are going quick. And then we just scheduled and just announced a public investigation that people can come out and join us for $40 a piece at the Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky. You can come see me and Lee and Regina and hang out with us and investigate and see how we investigate and ask us yourself what we think of equipment and things.
Right.
And that'll be from 6 till midnight. And then me and Lee will continue doing the Paranormal News and Views live stream a couple times a month, and I'm going to do some other live stream stuff on Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, continue on with the show and with guests, and onward and upward.
All right, Lee, is there anything else that you got going on other than what Eric just said?
No, he stole my thunder, every bit of it. No, like he was saying though, January 20th and 21st up at Thomas House. We already sold out on the 21st. We might have something a little extra for the 21st. We don't know yet. But we still got plenty of rooms, but they are selling on the 20th.
Now,
Hoping people will come out. And
don't forget, Lee, you're gonna have to hold 2 spots because you did convince my wife to come to one of those events.
oh, just name the day. We'll find a place. Yeah, she did. She committed to it.
She did.
And the Old Stone Jail, like I said, last time we were there, it was pretty active. It was a lot of fun. And like Eric was also saying, come out and tell us what you think of our equipment. Use our equipment. Give us your opinion. Maybe you can point out something that we haven't realized.
Oh, hey, Lee, tell them what all is entailed if they come out to Thomas House.
For the it's $100 a person. You get your hotel room, you get your bed for the night, you get a home cooked dinner, also a home cooked breakfast the next morning, a whole night of investigating. Meet some great people, and a good time to be had. That is a promise, because it's never let us down. And looking forward to it. I mean, absolutely. Come out and please join us.
All right. Regina, anything different from them 2 guys?
Well, the whole reason that we're hosting these paranormal events is that we're working towards a goal of doing another Paracon like we did earlier this year, in hopes to raise money to donate to another historic location. We were fortunate enough this year to host one and to be able to help Jack from Memphis Ghost Hunters. He owns the old Raleigh Cemetery, helped raise money so that he can get a brand new riding mower to get his cemetery mowed and cleaned up so he can continue to do ghost tours and hunts out there. So that's the reason why we're hosting these things. So we're looking forward to a bigger and better paranormal convention this coming year, hopefully, knock wood. And then of course, we'll host other locations as well. But yes, got a lot on our plate. And Lee and I filmed earlier this year there
you go, Damien.
Hey, I didn't spoil it this time. I kept my word like I said I would.
You did. We filmed a pilot for a TV show that we're hoping is going to be picked up and aired soon. So fingers crossed that'll be on the radar for next year as well.
Also on that, look under Medics4Paranormal on Facebook, as well as PPF Investigations. I have to think about it, Regina. And you can actually keep up with how that's progressing.
So far, it looks really interesting from all the little vignettes they've shared
Teasers.
of everybody, and the little teaser they put out. It looks really interesting, and I have that crew lined up to be on season 2 next year. So I'm looking forward to having whoever wants to be on. Heck, y'all two might be back on. So just whoever wants to join. So Terry, what has your team got lined up for next year?
So we do have the East Coast coming up. So we're going to head out to the East Coast, and we're going to go to the Wildwood Sanitarium, Hinsdale House, West Virginia State Penitentiary. There's one other one. Hold on, I can't think what it is. We are going to hit up Trans Allegheny. We have the East Tennessee Paracon, April 29th. Let's see where else. Oh, we got another one in Iowa. That's the Walk in the Pass, it's called. They always had us come out there. And then we have there's the Lynchburg Funeral Home. We've did it plenty of times. We got a new team member. She's not got to go. So we're going to take her out there and let her do that. I don't have a date on that one yet, but we can fit that in between there somewhere. And then we have the courthouse here in Smith County, Tennessee. So if you want to book overnights with us, you can. I believe it's Stephen has it at $450. He handles that. So I think it's $450 up to 10 people for an overnight. And then we do Publix. We'll have some of those next year coming up. Those are $45 a person. You do get pizza and drinks with that. And then it's been cold. I've been giving everybody hot chocolates and things. I think that's about it, unless something else pops up between now and then. But yeah.
All right.
So y'all can follow us as well on this Haunted Smith County page and then Mid-Tennessee Paranormal page.
All right. Well, it sounds like all of y'all have a lot going on, especially the first of the year. And it sounds like it's going to be a fun year for everybody. For our team, RKB Paranormal, just here in a few days, we're heading up to Cynthia, Kentucky to, I hope I've been saying this right. Is it Rose Opera House?
Yes.
Okay. I was hoping I was saying it right. So, a few of us are going to head up there for that. And, of course, this is the season finale of the podcast. I'm going to pick back up in early January for season 2. Then in January, I'm going to attempt to do my first live stream episode from the Old Stone Jail. I'm going to be interviewing those guys, and then we're going to investigate the jail afterwards. I think in February, we're talking about going back out to Cumberland Furnace, Tennessee, to a community center we did last year and had some really weird activity in a cabin out there. I think we're going to be heading back out there. Then we have a whole bucket list of places we have, or at least going to try to hit up some places next year. But I know that's what we got going on for the next few months anyway. And hopefully you guys can get that Paracon put together and we can come back out there and, make another.
Yeah.
It's going to be better than it was last year.
So, all right. So everybody, I want to thank each and every one of you, not only for being on tonight, but being a guest throughout the first season of Life Beyond 6 Feet. Eric was my very first guest. Regina, you were part of my 7th episode. Terry, I think you were episode 2. Lee, you were episode 13. Me and Josh did our own episode together, just talking about me and him. So, we've all have kind of helped bring this thing together. And my last look, the show's been up roughly 4 months, and I'm approaching like 1,000 listens in about 4 months.
That's amazing.
Which may not sound like a lot to some people, but
That's amazing to me.
I think it's pretty fucking cool. So
yeah.
And so for everybody, for Josh, for my whole team, thank each and every one of you guys. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us, Damien.
Thanks,
Good to
guys.
see you, Josh.
Y'all be good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys.